Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Restoration Talks, of course. I hope everyone at home is doing fine as well. We have a lot to discuss today. We have Brother Shalom. We also have Brother Charles, a new face. So everyone at home, greet Brother Charles. We're really happy that you could be here.
Welcome,
Yeah,
welcome. Happy
yeah,
to see you, man. Nice.
all the way from GH. So
GH.
yeah, right. So very
GH.
yeah. So we've been discussing so much the past weeks, many topics that we have discussed. There's so much happening in this world as well, and of course, one of the things that's really prominent right now, of course, is for example the wars in Israel and Palestine. You guys probably wa- watch the news, maybe discuss it at home as well, maybe discuss it at work. Do you guys also have frequent conversations about that?
yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've had conversations with friends and so.
Mhm.
Only with one colleague I had a conversation. He's from he's
Oh,
from India, and of course we didn't speak in the open, but he said, "Hey, these Israel people, wow." So he was really quiet, because it's still a working place, so no political agenda and discussions. Those are really
yeah.
working.
Yeah. That's very true. At our workplace, are kind of biased actually
Yeah.
towards Israel. Is that the same at your place as well, Charles, or is it different?
Oh yeah, I've been having conversations about it with some of my colleagues, and then it looks like it's all over in the country, or like a lot of people are now getting to know more of it. Because within this week, when I was going to work, I saw somebody preaching by the roadside, and the person was with an Israel flag. So I asked myself, how come you're preaching by the roadside and you are with an Israel flag? How did you get to know? So I realized that people are getting to know what is really happening outside the country and in the world as well.
Yeah. It's literally it's just a global topic. Everything has been taken over concerning Israel Palestine, and we were like thinking, okay, the topics that we're also going to discuss because tomorrow in the radio show we're discussing like the sword, and that also has to do with that as well. And do you guys think, or what are your ideas on another world war happening actually? So what are your thoughts on that? Do you guys agree or do you don't agree?
Personally, it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way I can rule it out because of what is happening right now. Little did we know about a war between Israel and then the Palestinians, but all of a sudden it just came about due to whatever happened between them. So
Mm-hmm.
there is no way I can rule out anything happening in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if these two countries can cause this chaos around this time, then maybe something, anything can just happen. There's no way
Mm-hmm.
I can rule out that. Yeah, that's what I
As
believe.
in, as in one president will be really angry, will be like, you know what? I will just launch some rockets
You
because
guys
now
are
that
afraid, huh? You guys are afraid.
uh, Ghana, we don't have military, so we are the first to die. We are the first to die. So yeah, okay. Well, but then if it would be a world war, of course, in the end, everybody have seen the end of the world and those movies, but a real world war, as in all continents are fighting each other,
Mm-hmm.
because the Second World War was just brothers fighting amongst each other, right? As in
Mm-hmm.
from the Western people fighting each other, and there was one eventually in Japan, and it was like, oh, World War. For me,
Mm-hmm.
a real world war would be Africa is in it,
Eee.
Asia is in it, America, an actual world war, because now it's just the West fighting each other and some.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm curious if that will happen in that sense, as in the everybody. But yeah, Africa, we don't have military base, so our own military. So, or maybe Charles will fight in the military, but I will not do it.
Yeah, I do agree. I think it's something that people are thinking about more and more. I don't know why the Israel-Palestine war feels so close to people, as if it's happening in their own country. But I think it does bring about these ideas about of okay, what should we do when we are in war? Technically, here in the Netherlands,
Mhm.
we are in a war or we are experiencing a war, but nobody talks about Ukraine anymore. It's all
Yeah,
about
Ukraine is out of the map. Russia, Ukraine. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Same thing like Corona, right? It's also.
Sometimes it's a trend. It seems like a trend. It
Yeah.
comes and then it goes. But yeah, people at home, if you think, do you guys think that another world war is simply impossible to happen, or do you think it is possible? If we look at the times that we are in now. I mean, like, war doesn't have to be literal war, with military anymore. It can have multiple and different forms in which it comes. And I was just thinking, do you guys recognize things or ways of wars that are happening right now here? Yeah, for me and Shalom, then in the West. But are there things that you can recognize as well for yourself?
Yeah. To me, or for to Charles.
Both of you can answer.
Oh,
Doesn't matter.
yeah. To say. So the question is then, what types of war, any other than sword and military, do we still have, or do we experience these days?
Hmm.
I think I would, yeah, war on health. I would also say,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
I think that's also a different way of how war has been involved. Biochemical war.
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's one of the that's one of the wars that are now in place. Because before there were certain wars, was always with sword and so on, and that's involved eventually
Hmm.
maybe to nuclear weapons. It's in the
Hmm.
1900s, and now we are in a technology era.
Hmm.
I think, yeah, then things has evolved even more. Cyber war,
Hmm.
also
Yeah.
cyber war,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
cyber war, like TikTok stories, and then the Chinese Temu, and then they are trying to infiltrate the Western world with their. Yeah. That's also war, different
Hmm.
kinds of war. Yeah.
Yeah. And Charles, I saw you heavily nodding when Sean was speaking.
And I'm not sure about it, but to me personally, I'll consider this as also like a type of war with
Hmm.
the coups that have been happening in Africa. The
Hmm.
recent one that happened, I would term this one as like a ruling war because there was a president or there was a ruler in that country, and then the people didn't like him, so they have to disagree or take him off in one way or the other. So they have to be a fight
Hmm.
so between the um, ruling government and then the people in the country. So
Mm.
Hmm.
that can also be as a particular war or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
a
yeah.
type of war in terms of ruling
So a lot of
countries.
disagreements, and
A
then
lot of
the
disagreement.
government will also put their military to fight to against everybody who was opposing the government.
That
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's currently happening in Ghana. So now your life is in danger.
it will happen in Ghana.
So
Too much of
Oh,
the.
I'm not sure it will
Oh,
happen
oh.
in Ghana. Ghana is a very peaceful country. In fact,
Yeah.
yeah, true, true. Ghana's peace. Yeah. Nowadays.
very peaceful. No matter what, very peaceful.
Don't like war. We like peace.
Those who are saying there could be war, there could be war, they are the same people who are afraid to even step out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because recently we're having a very hard economic issue. And then people were saying all sort of stuff. If you go to some media, they are saying there could be a coup in Ghana, as it happened in some other parts of the African countries. And
Mhm.
then today, you don't even see any sign of coup or something. Like everybody's really doing whatever he or she wants. You just have to take care of yourself. That's all.
Mhm.
That's how peaceful Ghana is. Even
Mhm.
though you will see some other things, but I don't really see any sign that there will be something like a war sort of or a coup or anything in disagreements like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
yeah. That's a
Do
very
you have
interesting.
any then, Brittany?
Well, there are many wars actually going on.
So.
Yeah, well, here, especially in the West, but I think it's also influencing it, Africa, or they actually want to bring it there. But that's the whole issue on LGBTQ and gender. So really, a war on what is a man, what is a woman, transgender,
Uh,
bisexuality, lesbianism, gay.
uh,
It's here in the Netherlands. It's normal. It's you see it everywhere. The flags are everywhere. The government even pays when you want to transition and stuff.
oh.
So these things are just happening. So I think that one. It's also one that one of our listeners brought up. The person said that that is really a war that is happening right now. So that sparked my mind. We're going to look at a clip, and I'm wondering what you guys think of this clip. I actually have several ones, but let's start. We're going to build up, okay? So
So.
let's start with this one. Let me know if you guys can hear it properly, okay?
Yeah.
Mm.
Your DNA is going to be the same from when you're born and until you die. And it doesn't matter how you dress yourselves or what hormones you take. I mean, you're either going to be a male or a woman. You have those chromosomes in your body. There are certain things about yourself that are going to stay the same your whole life, and you have to accept those and embrace them, because if you don't embrace them, you're just going to be hating yourself.
I really wanted to be normal. Like that, there's nothing in life I've ever wanted more than to be normal. And I'm
What is that though? Really?
exactly that's the problem. The problem I run into is that it doesn't really exist. And every attempt that I've made to try and be more like one gender or the other hasn't really worked. So finally, I just got to a place where I was like, well, people may say that there isn't anything in between, but I'm in between, and I feel like the people who really know me and love me, they see that.
It's difficult to think that there could only be two. Like, how would that even be possible when there's like on a spectrum of like masculinity and femininity? Couldn't you lie anywhere?
Well, it's like the tomboy idea that a girl can feel and have these more masculine doesn't mean she's not a girl. There's a spectrum, but there's two definitive parts to the spectrum.
So then would me being born male, biologically male, would you say I'm 100% male?
Well, you made the transition, so you didn't feel like
But
a
you
male.
were physically born as a male.
But
But
then
you
would you say I'm 100% female?
I will be honest and say I feel I use the chromosome, but I would say you are under 100% a male.
I wouldn't say that.
That would just be my belief.
Uh, yeah.
A lot is happening in this clip on its own. What are your thoughts? We actually have to have a discussion about what is male and what is female. That is insane. To me, that's really insane. Like people want to defy genetics, science, in our case, scriptures. It's I don't even have words for what I just saw. What are your
The
thoughts?
man asked, he said, "For why can I not just be in the middle?" He said, "Why can I not just be in the middle?" The I don't know, the one who transitioned. Uh, he said, "Why can I not just be in the middle?" Because he was born as a male, I guess, and then he transitioned into a woman. Uh, oh wow, yeah, I think it's just biology. You cannot fight it.
Yeah, I don't even know what they mean with there's a middle. What is like there's a middle? What I don't even understand what they I don't even think they understand what they're looking for or trying to be, and they're actually promoting that confusion and bringing that confusion onto us. I can't wrap my mind about it. Like Charles, is this also becoming more and more in Ghana, or how? What are your thoughts on what you just saw?
Oh, in Ghana, personally, I've encountered some few people about this issue, and then the commonest thing that I've found among them is about how they feel about the society that causes them to do all those kind of things. Because if they are being born and then they are acting the otherwise gender, they feel they are not part of the society anymore. Well, in Ghana here, you see a man and he's working like a woman, they start laughing at you or they start staring at you. They be like, what kind of person are you? Sometimes when even your voice changes, they be like, hey, where from this voice? So that kind of societal, um, negative response that they get. That's how come they do that. Apart from that, in Ghana, and in Ghana too, most of them are hidden. They don't really come out like some other countries. You only have some few people who comes out to tell or say they are gay, but then you only feel most of them hiding themselves because they are scared that when they come out, they because society doesn't agree with them in one way or the other, they might have some attacks. And recently, I saw a video on TikTok, and then somebody like they suspected him to be a gay, and then
Hmm.
they get somebody to just allow him, and then take him to a nearby bush
Mm-hmm.
where they call some other gang members to come and attack him,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had to beat him to the death point, all because they don't like gays in that area,
Mm-hmm.
or they don't like those homosexuality in that area. And then the guy has been, practicing or doing this kind of things. So
Mm-hmm.
they had somebody to talk to him within the video. So somebody was speaking to him, and then the person led him to a nearby bush and called some other gang, and they had to beat him. So because
Mm-hmm.
of some of these things, most of the LGBTQs are hidden in the country. If you come out to proclaim, you think we might have some attacks on you.
Mm-hmm.
That's so far in Ghana.
Yeah.
And recently, there has been a petition by the parliament that they want to accept it. But then Parliament too is also bringing out a petition that they don't want to legalize gay and homosexuality in the country. So it has been something that has been going on and off here.
Mm-hmm.
Up to now, a decision hasn't been made yet. But looking at it, it looks like they want to ban it. They don't want it
Mm-hmm.
in the country. They catch you like a country in maybe um, Pakistan where they when they homosexual
Mm-hmm.
and they catch you. owe you some sort of, you want to do something like that in Ghana here. So that's what happened. That's what's happening.
Yeah. So it's clear that it's not accepted. That mentality is not appreciated, and it was something that they also wanted to force on multiple African governments. I don't know if you have watched that as well. So not only Ghana, but there were quite some countries in which they wanted to come with that with that law on LGBTQ and stuff. And Shalom, how would you then? How should we even engage with this war, or is it something that is bound to influence us anyways?
I think we're already influenced, right?
Oh, we're all we are
The
part of the
level,
war.
no, as in the war, yeah, of this type of war on gender, I would say. I think we're already influenced. The numbers already says it. Like within 10 years, 20 years time, 20 years, yeah, it was not like this. It was everybody was in his closet, and now people even in gatherings in churches will be like, hey, you know what? Hey, I am I'm coming out of the closet, so it will only get worse, man. It will only be worse. It's impossible to go backwards, and it will only be worse, man. So yeah, it's sad. It's sad because
Mhm.
it makes us realizing uh, that we have to be more, even more set apart than before, because they
Yeah.
even put it in our foods, in our uh, in the things we eat, especially they try so many things just to feminize the man, and to mask, and also to put some masculinity on the woman. So
Mhm.
yeah. It's evident. It's evident.
Yeah.
The question should rather be, what do we have to do in order to preserve ourselves, and how hard do we really have to work for it? But that's also a question I really also have for you guys. What do we actually have to do then in such a moment in these days?
I want to say flee, but it's not that simple.
Flee, yeah, flee. They will not have any youth. They will not have any money. The house you are in, you cannot pay it.
Yeah, it's not possible. I mean, it's everywhere. Really,
Yeah,
Charles, if you would be here in the Netherlands, it's everywhere,
yeah,
and it's just okay. Yeah, it's the toilets have been changed. You have rainbow colored flags everywhere. Um, it's okay for this to happen in at your workplace, at schools. It's I don't, yeah, as you said, Shalom, I don't think it's possible for us to escape, but I think how we can um, fight it is not accept that mentality. And I think that comes with um, you not lowering your standards or how you think about it in the first place, because it always happens like that, right? That's how they pollute your mind, that's how they influence you. Um, by saying, yeah, it's okay, and after a while you will think that it's okay, or normal behavior. So no, I truly find this a war on what genders are there, and the traditional view of what a man and a female is. But Shalom, you said something about the things that they put in our foods. And I want to show you guys a very interesting clip because it's exactly about food, how that changes people, how that changes um, their structure. I'm just going to show it, and I'm really curious because you, Charles, of course, work in a hospital. So, what are your thoughts on that? Uh, yeah.
With the food aspect, I think this is gonna be new to me.
Let's see. Yes.
estrogen, the female counterpart to testosterone. Just like men have significantly more testosterone than women do, which is responsible for their masculine development, women have significantly more estrogen than men do, which is responsible for their feminine development. Therefore, testosterone and estrogen have an inverse relationship, where if one increases, the other decreases, just like masculinity and femininity have an inverse relationship. Now, this is probably where the story ends for most people who are vaguely aware of estrogen. However, just like its masculine counterpart, there is a dark cloud surrounding it that society has yet to acknowledge. Estrogen is not the pro health hormone that mass media is leading you to believe. In fact, it is at the source of much disease and destruction sweeping the Western world. And more specifically, the greatest weapon used against masculinity that no one is talking about. The term estrogeneration to describe the state of our current generation wasn't made up by myself. It's actually borrowed from Dr. Anthony J. in his book on the discovery of estrogenics, the mutated, artificial, evil twin of estrogen that is found in almost everything we eat, drink, touch, and breathe. See, estrogen, when naturally produced from the body, regulated in our endocrine system, isn't a bad thing at all. It's a stress hormone along with the likes of cortisol that aid us in handling acute stress and, for women specifically, to properly develop feminine characteristics. However, estrogenics are different. They aren't naturally produced from the body, but rather externally entered into our system and mimic the effects of estrogen. Now, we all know that steroids, externally inputted synthetic testosterone, create a whole list of issues, which is why we don't encourage steroid use. It's illegal. But estrogenics have seemed to magically flown under the radar, despite the fact we all have them in us right now. Oh yeah, yes, you watching this is under the influence of estrogenics. In fact, you have been for years. Might I say, your entire life? Let's put this to the test. I'm going to take you through what Dr. J calls the Ill Reproductive System 10 list. In short, the IRS 10 list. It lists the top sources of estrogenics, and you'll tell me if you've been exposed to only 4 of the 10, not even all of them. Deal? Okay. Number 1, phytoestrogens, the plant estrogenic, found in soy, flax, lavender, cannabis, and more. So I imagine you could argue, hey, Mr. Drift, I don't really like soy and flax seeds, barely eat them, I take the time to check the thousands of ingredients in the processed food I buy. Plus, not a fan of the lavender scent, not my thing, and I made sure it's not in any of the self-care products I use every single day. Finally, right, I was never a weed smoker, never even tried it once. Okay, sure. 2, atrazine, the herbicide estrogenic, one of the most commonly used herbicides to control weed growth on crops such as corn, sorghum, and sugarcane. It saves farmers thousands of dollars and hours from having to manually remove weeds from their crops. Well, you could say, hey, Mr. Drift, actually, I've been eating organic my entire life, never touched processed food ever. In fact, I have my own organic farm, and I myself go there and remove the weeds myself.
Okay, so he is mentioning so many things.
Yeah, so
There are probably people that are watching that thought they were healthy with their I'm going for soy and vegan and I'm not going to eat the meat burger anymore. But we got it all wrong. So he was mentioning soy. Charles or Shalom, do you guys eat soy, or have you ever thought about eating soy? And have you thought about these consequences?
oh no, personally, I haven't really encountered um this ideology though. But honestly, I've been eating all this kind of food and I'm not seeing any changes in my, gender or something. So can't really say much about that. It's
Yeah.
something new to me.
So I think it's more in the excess of it. So if it's because that's a lot what a lot of people say. Don't eat it in excess because that's just wrong. But Shalom, do you have a different opinion on that?
Um, yeah, I do agree. I think I hear myself too much stuff. You hear me? Yeah. No, a different opinion. Now, for me, it's yes, the war is there, right? That kind. And if I can avoid soy, I understood almost 90% in the product in the supermarket is made from soy. Even the smallest have a sort of soy in it. So it would take a lot of research to come to the point to really be soy free. So, but indeed, we have to be aware of this biochemical
Mhm.
warfare. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, before you know, it can snatch your your whole life.
Yeah. And especially if we just discussed how gender is not clear anymore. They're also doing it through the things that we eat. And I think so many people are not aware of that in itself. So we think, yeah, we are anti this and that and transgender and whatnot. But literally, the government is trying to make you transgender through the things that you eat because eating that in excess, you get all these female type of the body type, the voice, the emotional fluctuations. So we are already part of the agenda, and I just hope that people really realize that we are part of that agenda. Okay, so let's see what points he will mention more.
Okay, let's roll with it. Number 3, BPA, BPS, phthalates, the plastic estrogenics, all ingredients used to make plastic. I don't have to explain how commonly used plastic is. It wraps all of our food, contains our drinks, and is in the construction of almost everything we use daily. Well, I imagine someone out there could say, Mr. Drift, I grew up in sub-Saharan Africa. I was never exposed to modern Western life. I never heard of this plastic and processed food you talk about. I only eat and drink what I can hunt and gather. Well, even you aren't safe. Here is final of the only 4 estrogenics on the IRS 10 list. 4. EE2, the birth control estrogenic, an oral contraceptive ingredient used in birth control. Now you might be thinking, Mr. Drift, I've never used birth control in my life. I'm at least definitely good on that front, right? Wrong. Not only is EE2 found in our water supply, but so is atrazine, BPA, phthalates, and much, much more estrogenics. Even the water that we bathe in and drink from is contaminated. No one is safe. Now remember.
So as we heard, no one is actually safe. No, it's even in the water. It's in the water. And I'm wondering, um, because we just talked about how can we protect ourselves, but it's clear that we cannot protect ourselves. Whether you want to stop eating certain foods, it's not going to help. Whether you want to flee, it's not going to help because it's everywhere. So what would another advice then be? Because we can see that war is being waged in different areas on us humans. So Charles, what would you advise yourself if you knew more about this, if you knew this beforehand?
Well, I'm trying to, I guess,
Mhm.
say this, but yeah, let's see the other opinion.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, right? Yeah, I really see you.
One.
Uh, I don't. I personally don't have an answer as well, or not one that comes up to mind. Try to not go with the flow, but as we said, it's even in the water. So maybe we should just give up. Maybe that is maybe that's just what we should do. Just give up. This is something that we can do. Someone, why are you laughing? Really?
You're right. You just give up. It's hopeless. It's hopeless. Yeah, but at least the best what we can do, right? So that's why it's also important that we're living in a place where Yah may show us mercy. That's all we can depend upon. Because some people are even smoking, right, the whole life, and they haven't died. I don't say smoke, and because you will surely die. But the point I'm trying to make is that people are living a more worth lifestyle, and they're even able to survive. So the little what we can do is, of course, to live as righteous as possible. And in that sense, may He show us compassion. No?
Yeah, I fully agree on that one. Charles, did something come up, or you also agree with what Brother Shalom said?
I think what we can do is to just live up to our basic standard of life, eating good, and then exercising. But if we should go on adding the smoking, thinking that maybe some people, especially men, some people that I've spoken to, they always say that when they smoke, they feel like they are a man and they're able to do whatever they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But what about you not smoking? You're still a man. Even if they take your gene, you're still a man. So what is the difference between the man that you are now and then the man that you think you become when you take in whatever you are thinking of? So
Mm-hmm.
it's some of the things about the society where we get this information from. If we follow the standard way of living, what I'm trying to say is eating right and drinking right. I don't know which water um, the one in the video was describing. Maybe there's a particular brand of water that gives that. I don't know. But if you're talking about our normal water, clean water, the H2O that we know, I
Mm-hmm.
think, well, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's a beautiful start, but yeah, we should just try and get to that point of not engaging in the war whilst they're trying to force this war on us. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you for your insights, Charles. We hope to see you more often. Thank you, Shalom, as well. Tomorrow during the radio show. 12 p.m. sharp, we're going to discuss the sword. How does the West really influence? How's the West trying to influence us? Through which forms are they doing this? And we touched upon some of them. So let's see what the minister has to say tomorrow. So people know that you are free to still comment, to share your ideas also with us, so that we can take it along in the show. So once again, thank you, the both of you, and hopefully till next time. Thank you. Bye bye.